episode of Two Scrippers, One Poe. That's two SKRIPPAS, one POLE. Follow it on Instagram. I don't know what to talk about today. Well, I do. I lied. I wrote it down. Y'all, I'm getting better. I'm getting really good at this, actually. Except for the fact, it's like I remember to write it down, but then when it comes time to recite it, completely forget. And it's funny because I saw this, I saw this reel that I thought was the perfect description of me and how I podcast. The caption is me trying to finish one damn thought before the next thought starts screaming in my brain.
If you'd let me finish what in the fuck I'm trying to say, shut your mouth and you find out.
Oh my gosh, it's like when I go back and listen to edit, I'm like, how did you just completely lose your train of thought? And then it's so bad sometimes that as I'm listening, I forget in the middle of that sentence, so I still don't even know what I'm trying to remember. But I bring that up to say, in Attack of the Squirrels, I started talking about the squirrels. Then I got distracted by Mickey. He wasn't actually here, but I was telling the story of Mickey. And then, I started telling the story of Mickey because, okay, so this is the thought process. Squirrels. The squirrels reminded me of a dream I had. The dream reminded me of my actual lived experience with Mickey. And so I made it back to the squirrels, but I never made it back to the dream. And at this point, to be honest, I don't really remember all the details, but I just know it didn't make sense and it was a little crazy. I'm not into dream analysis, but we've talked a lot about it in my program and I've been looking into it more, that's a false statement. I want to look into it more. But at this moment, it's just so much on my brain. My hair long, y'all. Like this time last year, I wasn't bald headed, but compared to where my hair is now, I was bald headed. Okay, I don't even know I think my hair was near my ear. I just took out my 2-strand twist. I think how long did I have my 2-strand twist in? I feel like I had my 2-strand twist in for at least 2 weeks. Because I think I did it before I went to New York. Oh, God, excuse me. Yeah, that checks out. About 2 weeks, more or less. Dreams. So, I don't remember all the details. Because now it's been several days since I had the dream. But I think from what I can remember, it started out in my house and it was like in my dining room kitchen area. I know my mom was there and I know that I was there and it was like one other friend, but I can't remember who the friend was. But you know how sometimes in dreams, it's like you are, air quote, seeing it from another person's perspective, but like you're aware of your own presence. I don't really know if that makes sense, but it was like it was almost like I had an omniscient, I believe that's the correct word, an omniscient view, but at the same time I was seeing from someone else's point of view. So I believe I was seeing from the mouse's point of view. And then there was also like some sub in there and it was like some human furniture stuff going on. I don't fucking know. I don't question my dreams, honestly. And I know that part of like dream work is keeping like a dream journal. And whenever you wake up, just writing down as much as you can remember. Like even if you wake up in the middle of the night, they say, and you had a dream, you should still write down whatever, and then like roll back over and go to sleep. But yeah, I'm not a dream analysis. I'm not there yet. So anyway, this dream, it started out there, and then I don't really know how it transformed into what it transformed to, but the next thing I know, I was in a lecture-style classroom. You know, like Psych 101, everybody got to take it, so it'll be like 200 motherfuckers in that class, and it's like a big lecture hall. That's what it was given. And so at that point, the mouse that was the star of the first half of my story then transformed into my friend. Like I read them as the same entity. And they presented as themselves, but part of me knew that you really came from a mouse. And then they was teaching the lecture, and I was sitting in a chair, and then I just fell over. Nobody pushed me. I didn't lean forward. I was sitting there, and then I just fell out the chair. And then as I was falling out the chair, like my whole vision went, right? And you know how like the door classroom, it be having a little window. This is crazy, but it's a dream, so it's not real life. But I'm going to tell y'all about some of the other dreams that I have really vivid, crazy dreams. And I don't know what that says about me. So if you know, send your interpretation of my dreams to twoscrippers1poll@gmail.com. Also, send stories, questions, topics, and corrections to twoscrippers1poll@gmail.com. I need to get in the habit of saying that more, because when I edit the videos, I put it in the videos I try to go for like every 20-30 minutes depending on how long I'll be rapping. And I need to get better at ad placement too. But we get in here, okay? One step at a time. Classroom fell over. Yeah. So I'm in a chair, and then I just fall. And so I'm having this like awareness. As I'm falling, I see like the little window in the door, and it looked like a motherfucking apocalypse outside. Niggas is brawling. Niggas is going crazy. I don't know what the hell is going on. Then at the same time that this is happening, it's one of those like you're the omniscient, you're multiple points of view. In my head, as I'm falling, I'm like, air quote, watching this, and I'm thinking, wow, this is embarrassing on national television. And I'm thinking, how we got to television, I don't know. But then I had like, oh, this is like BMF, like I'm gonna be famous, right? And maybe this is like some kind of subconscious connection to podcasting, because it is like a television show. And then like, maybe when I fall, it's like sometimes when I trip over my words, or like the plight of being famous and in the spotlight and everybody criticizes what you says. I don't know. I don't fucking know. But that makes sense. Anyway, oh, that's a big bee. Bees have been following me, y'all. I haven't gotten the chance to, well, I kind of have looked into bees. But I want to dive. I can't, y'all. I got literally one more week before I'm out of school. Oh, I need a biscuit in it. UK people, please do not come for me, okay? I think British accents are so cute. Who was it that I said I think would be really fascinating if they had a British accent? I feel like Bruno Mars would be really dope with a British accent. Does he have one? Because I've had this conversation before, and I couldn't remember if it was like I think he would be hot with one, or if I was surprised. I know I was a little bit surprised that Idris Elba had one. But anyway, back to the apocalypse. So yeah, it was like niggas outside brawling and shit, and then I was falling out of chairs. And then I woke up. I remember like going out in the hallway, and I was just seeing like people was really losing their shit, like it was the end of the world and crazy stuff happens. Like people really don't know how to regulate and control their actions. So yeah, that was the dream that I had referenced. And speaking of dreams, so last semester in my history of art therapy class, we went to the American Visionary Museum, which if you are in Baltimore, I completely suggest going. It is a beautiful, like just the building itself is like a whole mosaic. It's so beautiful. And inside their permanent collection, no, I'm not going to say that because I know it's wrong. I was going to say like what the name, I think it's called the Prince Horn Collection. Corrections, okay? It's the one where you walk, if you go, it's the one when you walk in, it's on the main floor. That's a really fascinating exhibit. And then like upstairs they have different ones. And I've only been to it twice, but both times were really great. I remember the first time that I went. Shout out to one of my favorite white people, Megan. I love you. Megan's in the UK. So Megan, if you're listening to this, send me a text. I miss you. I love you. That is like, it's so funny because um this is my white friend from college. And I have a few white friends. You know, I'm friends with the white people who know that white people be the problem. So anyway, it's funny because freshman year, it was just something about her. And it's funny because I have a couple of white friends like this. But I have black friends like this too. But I think it's funnier when my white friends are like this way. Anyway, so I had saw her on campus, and freshman year, we both ended up taking, it was like, you had to take a seminar class, like a mini seminar, and then, or advanced writing, something, I don't remember. Freshman year, you had to take a writing based class, and then you had to take it again, I think, somewhere down the line. I think it might have been junior and later. But our writing class was centered around education because we were both education majors. She then ended up changing hers. But that's where I first noticed her. And then we lived in different buildings. And then sophomore year, that's when I had moved into, she ended up moving. Were we in the same building that first year? I think we might have still, I think we were in the same Tower D. Shout out Tower Rack. I think we were both in Tower D first year, and then second year she stayed in Tower D, and then I moved to Scarborough. And listen, to all my Scarborough Pretty Miss soldiers, people, and I don't know what it's like because I don't come around Tower Rack no more. But, and yes, I'm calling it Tower Rack. If you went to Towson in like 2014, 2015, you know the Towel Rack era, okay? That was a crazy time. A fun, great, amazing time, but it was a crazy time. Jimmy's Cabs, woo! And that was my freshman year, was when Ubers came out. Would y'all believe me if I said I was a party promoter? Like, freshman year was a motherfucking time. Anyway, back to my white friend. So, yeah, Scarborough Pretty Men, that's why I brought it up. They don't be having no AC. Like, it's known on campus that we the motherfuckers in there dying. But honestly, it's not that bad. It never got too hot or too cold, in my personal opinion. Other people may say otherwise. But what I will say is that is one of the best communities I've ever lived in. Like, just the general setup of how it is. Scarborough's, like, we just used to chill in the lobby. You would see people. You didn't necessarily like go on other floors to hang out, but that we had so much lobby space. That was a great experience. So I lived there, and that was the year that I was also on the I was on the URG, which other residence halls. Y'all, I've lived many lives. Like, yes, am I only 27? Yes, I am only 27, but I have lived many, many lives, okay? Like, all these eras, RA Kia, Teacher Kia, Pole Dancer Kia, Dominatrix Mango, Podcaster Kia Mango. It's so many different attributes. I think that's the word I want to say. Boss bitch energy. Anyway, so yeah, it was just a really great community, and that was the year that I was also on the URG, which that's where I was. The other schools and universities call them residence hall associations. Towson calls them theirs university residence government. So I was actually the special projects director, and what that means, I still have my plaque, but I was on the board to plan campus-wide events, and that was a really fun time. Definitely, I do not think that college is for everyone. I'm gonna be honest. Like, when I was teaching and I would have students that was stressed out over college, like, I'm not sitting here telling you not to go to college. I would just say, like, and it's hard. That's another reason why I had to leave teaching, because it's like you also have to navigate not overstepping parents, and recognizing that not everybody really has the freedom to do what they want, especially at a young age. Like, you're figuring out so many things and you still don't have freedom for real, depending on the circumstances. So it's like you really have to plan according to other people in a lot of ways. And when it comes to education, like, you have parents that want the best for you. I know when I was starting college, me and my mom got into it a lot because it was, how are you going to pay for this? And I was just so head fast, so like, I'm going to Towson. And then I'm horrible at standardized testing. And I had to take the SAT like 4 times to get a super score of 1480. And they waitlisted me. But what was crazy, oh, for real? Then, oh, wait, no, I do gotta go. Fuck. I got a text from my coworker. I was talking about Towson. Yes. So I was so headfast when going to Towson. I had originally applied. Y'all, I used to want to be a foxy dancer. I remember when I was younger, I went to a Morgan State homecoming and I saw the foxy dancers and the band, and I was like, that's going to be me. But then I didn't end up applying to Morgan because I knew that I wanted art education, and I knew I would have to either find a major that was one, which Towson was, or like, I think University of Maryland, I would have had to major in education in like basically double major. But I also think I didn't honestly, when it came to applying for Maryland, I really only ended up applying to Towson and PGCC. And PGCC was my fallback. I don't think I ever went through with Morgan because what was really driving me was the foxy dancer, and then I didn't have they didn't have the art education major. I wanted to stay in Maryland. And then I started my application to UMD, but then I stopped. And it was for a couple reasons. Because one, everybody and their mama that went to my high school, like, I feel like Towson and UMD were one of the main two that a lot of people from my high school went to. Second, my brother went to Maryland. Third, when I was in high school, I actually had a job on Maryland's campus in their book center. So by the time it was ready, like I was ready to go to college, I was done with UMD. I didn't want any parts. So I started it and then stopped. So really for me, it was like Towson or bust. And my plan was like, go to PGCC, transfer to Towson. But even then I didn't want to do that because Towson's art education program is like a 5-year plan. You're going to take this. You have to do this screening in order to even get in the program. So if I had have gone to PG, then it would have made me stay in undergrad longer because some of the requirements are so specific. And so when I had got waitlisted, I was just like, yep, nope, I'm just going to go to PG. I'm going to transfer to that. Because that's what my brother ended up doing. He went to PG, and then he was like in some scholarship program. And since he was able to maintain grades, he was able to transfer to Maryland on a scholarship. So that was my plan. And then I remember when I finally got my You're In packet, I was over the moon. Oh my God. And literally the day before, I was like, oh, fuck it, I'm going to PG. Like, me and my mom were cool with it. I was like, I'm going to PG, da 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 da. Then it came in the mail, and I was like, ah! And I remember her just being like, okay, but how are we going to pay for it? And I was just like, in my head, I was like, I don't care, we're going to figure it out. I'm going to Towson. And I figured it out. I was able, like with undergrad, I was able, being an RA, being involved in housing and residence life to the extent that I really only had to take out loans my freshman year, and even then it wasn't that much. So I had like a lot of grants and scholarships, and I didn't have to pay for certain things. And then like with financial aid and stuff, I lived undergrad sweet. So that's also part of the reason why, as I'm in grad school, like, it's stressful. Speaking of grad school, oh no, that's not my teacher. Now that I'm in grad school, it's like my program is less expensive than compared to most. But I'm also like, this is where I'm actually taking out student loans, and I'm like, fuck. So I'm just at the point of like, I've seen divine timing, which is something I wanted to talk about, because I did not plan on going on this rant about school at all. But I just start saying stuff and we get there. So da, 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 da. Yeah, so I'm in this place now where it's like, okay, this is where I'm really starting to accumulate the student loans, and I'm like, whew, okay. And so it's instances where my program is 2 years, but I already pushed it back to 3. And I'm just kind of at the point where I don't want to have to push shit back. I think I've said it before too, that technically I would have been finishing my 2nd year, but life happens, and I got into the program when I needed to go into the program. So I'm just at the point where I'm just here for the ride. I'm enjoying it. And if I can't take summer classes, or if I can't do this and it pushes me back, that's okay, because that's what it's supposed to be. Yes, you're supposed to complete certain things within a certain time frame, but everybody's journey is different. I know somebody who's been in grad school for art therapy for 6 years, and it's finally, life. A lot of things happened throughout there, but she still made it her way back. So it's like, if it's meant for you, it will find you. It'll come in your time. Your time is your time. So I got into that because I was talking about the American Visionary Museum, and the first time I went was with my friend Megan. So that's how I went down that whole thing. I didn't finish the story about Megan. So 2nd year, she was in Tower D on the council, and we still didn't connect then. It wasn't until we were juniors and we both applied to be RAs, and we ended up being put on the same staff. Shout out Tower B. My first year as an RA was lit. That was a great time. Did I tell you about the time I almost burnt down the building? Crazy. And I for those of you who are listening, I did like a evil finger thing, because insider joke that I will not share. But anywho, yeah. So I don't remember what prompted us, but we were having a conversation, and I was like, I don't remember if she told me or if I told her, but somehow we got into this conversation of like, this might sound a little crazy, but I've been wanting to be your friend for like the past 2 years. And then we both had the same sentiment, essentially. I don't remember who brought it up, but it was like, wait, you wanted to be my friend? I wanted to be your friend. And then I love you, Megan. I love her. And I have some other white friends that I just adore in that same way. And have kind of had that, like, I would see them around, or like from first interaction, I'm like, that looks like a white person I would actually like in my life. They do not seem problematic. And so far, my hunches have been correct. So the other reason why I brought up the American Visionary Museum, so when me and Megan went, I'm really into true crime. Like, that's something I got from my mom. I don't indulge in it as much as I used to when I was younger. But one of the first podcasts that I listened to for years is My Favorite Murder with Karen Kilgariff and Georgia Hardstark. I fucking love MFM, okay? And I wrote in, if anybody who is listening to this also listens to MFM, or Karen or Georgia, if you are listening to this, I wrote y'all an email a while back, okay? If you need me to resend it, just let your girl know, because I saved it in my notes. It was the story about how I cut my thumb off, okay? And it was very descriptive, very hilarious. And I wrote that. But yeah, so that. And honestly, when I started this podcast, the setup of theirs was kind of what influenced me to do it the way that I was doing it, with like minisodes versus full episodes. And also part of that was because like me and Tori had planned on doing audio only, but I know that everybody's visual these days. So it was like, okay, well, we could do the audio an hour long, just conversational, and then we can do mini-sodes where we're engaging more. And so maybe down the line, maybe when I get a better swing of things and I really can move into like content creation in all forms, whether that's femdom, or this is really pushing things, or I'm really excited because like I said, I got 2 weeks left. Today I do not have to present anything in class. I presented last week, so I'm just here sitting back listening to my cohort. Tomorrow I didn't end up going to class last week because fucking cramps. And so I didn't get to present for my psychopathology class. And then I have a presentation for my internship class. And then next week is finals. And yeah, the semester's over. And there'll be a 2-week break before the semester starts. But again, like, don't know if that's happening. And I'm not pressing it. If it happens, it happens. Or before the summer session starts, if it happens, cool. Or I might join later for, because the way my school does it, it's like session A, session B over the summer. But we'll see. So I'm just like, I have a little bit of time, and that's kind of where I'm at too. I've been getting a lot of traction on my femdom sites, and you know, people are like, I've been watching you for a while, I really want to talk to you, and when is your availability? And I'm like, bruh, I be busy, okay? So like, people just, that's why I'm really trying to lean into this ignore fetish and sub training. Like, okay, if we're going to interact, you need to understand this is how you interact with me, and just like kind of putting them in their place, like, because these men's and these subs really just be getting beside themselves. And it's like, I'm not on your time, honey. You're on my time. You are serving me. I am the dominant. So get down on your fucking knees and listen to me, bitch. I'm a soft dom. I'm a soft dom, 100%. I do have people who are like, oh, degrade me. And it's just not really, playfully, yes, but it's not really in my nature. I would say at this moment, I think building that rapport with someone, building that dynamic, I might become more comfortable with it, because I know I just have certain thresholds that have to be reached, because I know when I get really annoyed, I start to become short with people, and I really am just looking at you like, bro, why the fuck were you birthed? You're an idiot. What the fuck? And so when I get really irritated, I start to lose a filter in how nicely I talk to people. Because I know that was a thing. Like when I was in an engagement group, and I was just minding my business, but it was like, bro, the instructions are clearly right fucking here. Why are you still asking questions? Why are you... Don't get me started on like retweet subs. There's like and what a retweet sub is literally just a submissive type that retweets for you so you get more visibility and exposure. That is the simplest thing you could do. It's also honestly really annoying, like, to me at least, when a sub is like, may I retweet you guys? Motherfucker, just do it. Just fucking do it. It's free. You know I need it anyway. Like, you know, I feel like part of what a sub's responsibility is to see what the dom needs. How can you be of service? How can you make my life easier? Retweet my shit, bitch. Damn. Another tangent that I went off on. True crime. I don't know how I got from true crime to whatever. Anyway, MFM. Yeah. So that's like something I really watched or listened to. And I started listening to that. That was my very first podcast and the only podcast I listened to for many, many years. And I started that in like, I want to say 2018. And then I'll have like these binge listens where I'll just like indulge. And then I'll step back. And then I had at one point finally caught up. I think in 21 or 22, I caught up completely. And I was like, damn, I can't binge listen. But then I stopped listening. So now I can go back and binge listen. But you know, I go back and forth with listening to podcasts because it'd be so much going on in my head and it'd be so much work to do. That's where I didn't finish. So I'm also just kind of really excited for this next, as I'm gaining traction, moving into this next section of my life, knowing that I did decide to extend my program. So we only get 2 internships. So whether I do complete my program within the next 2 years or not, I already said that I wasn't going to do my internship until my last year. So I have this next year of literally just school and working, which means I have so much more time because with my internship, so many hours are just taken up, and then I can get a better flow and schedule for myself. So I'm just really excited to transition into that. So back to the American Visionary Museum. The first time I went, me and Megan, there was an exhibit upstairs, and I can't remember the theme, but there's this serial killer named John List. And I just think that obviously all of it's tragic, but just the ideology is insane and like fascinating almost. Like this dude really, all because, and this is men, all because like he lost his job, I think it was, and he wasn't like making the money, wasn't bringing in. So it was self-hate and self-esteem issues because he couldn't provide or whatever the fuck else. And so I think he had lost money in gambling. If you know more about John List, it's been a while since I watched true crime, but I know this is a story that stood out to me the most. So he was dealing with his own shit, so he felt the need to bring his family into his shit. Instead of just leaving or like working harder to get a job or whatever the fuck, he was like, nah, I'm gonna take y'all niggas out and then go on to live my life. That's crazy. Y'all niggas really be out here crazy as shit. Anyway, so he annihilated his whole family. It was like, was it his, I forget the order, but he I think, he killed his, I forget what order, but I think he had 3 children. It's been a minute, y'all. And then his wife and then his mother. And I remember he had killed 1 or 2 of them and then put them in sleeping bags, and he centered them like in I think the living room or the foyer area in sleeping bags near, I think, the fireplace. And then he like went to one of his other child's soccer game, knowing that the motherfuckers in the house was dead, and then came back, killed them. This man ate a sandwich. He like canceled the milk subscriptions. He was writing letters to the school saying like, oh, we're going out of town, da 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 da. And he ripped his face out of all the pictures. He made so when he killed his mom, that's the only body he did not move to the living room, and he said because she was too fat. I said that is so disrespectful and so crazy. So it was like a month or 2 that went by that nobody noticed because they already were kind of like a reclusive family. And, you know, he sent out these letters saying like, oh, we're out of town, and nobody batted an eye. But then it started to become like, okay, we're seeing lights that are constantly on, or we're seeing this, like we haven't seen any action. And then they started to look into it. So this man ended up getting caught, I think 18 years later, because remember, he cut all of his face out the pictures. So then he like went and started a whole new life. Like, why couldn't you just restart your life right there? Reprogram, cognitive restructure yourself in the moment, and you could have spared your fucking family, ho. So then it was like he was with his partner, and I don't know if it was his partner or his neighbor who they had made a clay reconstruction on America's Most Wanted of like, we don't have pictures of this man. It's been this long. This is what he would look like. If you have any information, let us know. So they made a clay bust that looked just like him, and somebody called in and was like, yeah, like I know this dude, and that's how he got caught. Crazy. So I just think that like that the details, which I'm blanking right now, but the details of that case are just so fascinating to me. And so at the American Visionary Museum, when we went, there was somebody created like basically like a map of the house and a replica of like what happened. And you had like the little bodies in the sleeping bags, you had like the pictures, and it was so fascinating. So that's why I brought all of that up. And that's why I just talked for the past 30 minutes when that was not the intention. Where I started was, we went to the American Visionary Museum last semester as a cohort, and we just like went through and walked through the exhibits. And then afterwards, my professor had sat us down. Mind you, this was after I got back from the cruise. I had actually just found my car the day before, because I think I found it on that Tuesday, and we had class Wednesday. So I was like feeling good or whatever, but also like finding my car and having like all of these money problems, I was really stressed out. Grateful but stressed. And so we're sitting on the lawn, and my professor goes through this guided meditation, and we were like walking on the beach and just taking in all the sounds. And then she was like, now picture you see a figure walking towards you. And I don't remember if she said figure or person, but I'm gonna say figure because I'll tell you what I saw in the guided meditation. So picture a figure coming towards you, and then they get closer, they open their hand and hand you something, and then they leave. And so we were supposed to visualize what was it that they handed you. And then she wanted us to write about it. And this was based off of like Jungian's philosophy, Carl Jung, and just like the archetypes. And it's been a minute since I looked at that, but yeah, Carl Jung and Jungian philosophy, psychology. I don't actually know the proper term. Y'all, I just be showing up to class. Now, I be listening, but like you already know, first semester was really rough for me. I was just trying to figure out what the fuck life was. And now, but see, I'm also kind of glad that I may be taking this break, because then I could go back and really, now that I have a full year of experience and I'm able to make connections to the first semester, like, oh, I get it now. There are certain things that I am excited to go back and just like really get to understand more. So when I had the guided meditation, I pictured a glowing aura approaching me, and that golden aura was like a sunlight aura approaching me. I felt that aura's presence as myself. So it was me watching me come up to me, but it wasn't a physical representation of me. It was just like this aura of me. And it handed me money and then walked away. And so I thought this was interesting. Like when we were sharing, I didn't want to share at first because it was like, I felt like I was in a really vulnerable spot. And now hearing myself say that out loud, it's like, wow. But I didn't want to share that because I felt like I was in a really vulnerable spot, and that was like the easy cliche answer of like, I need money right now, da 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 da. And so, I mean, you could question and look at like, why is it you? Why is it not someone else? But honestly, now that I'm so far removed from it, and I can just kind of, and seeing how things played out, it's like, you know, as that figure was approaching me, I didn't feel any discomfort. I didn't feel stress, like outside of the stress that I was feeling. But it was like a comfort, and it was an ease, and it was like, it's okay. I got you. Here you go. And so seeing how things have just changed since, what was that? That was September, and now we're in April, literally getting ready to start May. And seeing in so many different ways that I struggled to interpret, seeing how that came about. So we were supposed to write like a whole assignment on it, but at the time I hadn't been reading, so I really didn't understand like the whole archetype thing. And then I felt embarrassed to say I gave myself money, looking at it, because in that moment I was in such a vulnerable spot. So I procrastinated on that, but it was also just overwhelming, the amount of work I had to do. I had to go to internship. I talk about this all the time, just all the fucking things that I had to do. And it just really felt unmanageable, on top of the stress of like beating myself up like, bitch, why aren't you being more productive? So I decided, she was like, we could either do that or we could do a dream analysis. So I was like, oh, I'm going to do this dream because I remember it so vividly, but then I still wasn't really thinking about I didn't know anything about the archetypes, so I was just like, I don't really know how to analyze this. And so I'm gonna share it with y'all, but real quick, commercial break. Oh, May is masturbation month, and I've been so busy masturbating, I haven't gotten a chance to make ads. So use the link in the description and use code BBMango30 at Balesa checkout to save 30% off your next nut and masturbate with me all month long. And while you're at it, head on over to Patreon and join one of the tiers so you can experience behind the scenes pole play, toy talk, where I talk about all these lovely toys, and tales of a sensual fendom. Y'all know it gets crazy. Back to the show. Hey y'all. So this I used to have, and for those of you listening, you can check the story eventually, but I'm going. So before I get into that though, quick, I was talking all this shit about internet safety, right? And I think I might have mentioned in the episode, I was really sitting here trying to figure out how these subs were finding my Instagram. And it's because my dumb ass had my personal Instagram in the link tree in connected to my Twitter, which isn't a problem, but is a problem. Since then, I have, like I said last week, I converted one of my pages, which actually works out better that I transitioned my lock page into that Instagram because hair fetish, it works the fuck out, you know? So I just, yeah, so I ended up putting my original page back on private, and then I just have my other pages that are open to the public. No, what is this? But yeah, I was really sitting here confused, how did these motherfuckers find me? Because then I went in my link tree and it had the Instagram thing, and I was like, but I didn't have an Instagram, and it took me right to my page. I said, oh shit. So I put my page on private, and I'm gonna go through my followers and see, and maybe down the line I'll take it back off private, but for now that really just creeped me out, and I'm still in the process of transferring things. Look at my little 8. I'm still in the process of transferring things, but like I said, I'm trying to get through this fucking week so I actually have time, because I've been writing down ideas. Things have been great. It's just that consistency but I'm overwhelmed right now. We're almost there. I was talking about dreams. Oh, I was talking about internet safety, that too. And so, what I was thinking of starting doing, because sometimes I post it in the story when I remember, my memory be, yeah. But I was thinking, I finally, every once in a while, I will repost the Two Scribblers One Pole Instagram on my art page, KP Mosaics. But I don't do it often. Why? Because that is, well, apparently all my shit is connected to Facebook, and I'm on I'm like, do I want to delete Facebook? I don't know, because Facebook be coming in handy for the birthdays, and honestly sometimes the drama. I be scrolling through the tea, but I really don't get on Facebook that often at all. And so I've talked about this, I think, in the episode I did with Mayday, the mini-sode, but or maybe it was the other one, but for a couple of years, I've been so disconnected from Facebook. I hate that everything is connected to Facebook. So I have been meaning to, at the very least, to go on there and just really disconnect all of the profiles. But I don't be on there. It's just an extra site that you got to navigate. And it's do I really get anything from Facebook? I don't know. And so I've been having that issue of accidentally posting things. And luckily, it hasn't been anything crazy or off the wall that has posted there, but also because I was still really connected to my teacher identity, and that is the page people can, people who buy my artwork or whatever else see that. And so it's I I'm still figuring out how I want to connect and embrace those, and keep myself safe, while I still need certain types of safety. Um, and so I say all that to say that I'm thinking of when I post, instead of posting pictures of artwork in the story, just doing like the invited collaborator and posting them on both pages. Cause like, it's like I'm actively creating art, but a lot of my artwork is focused in school. And so part of me is like, oh, well, you're not making art for yourself, quote unquote. So this isn't like you shouldn't be sharing this because it's not like your quote unquote aesthetic, but it's art that's being made by me and I'm an artist. And even just like, even if it's not going into detail about what it is per se, it's still like a process. And so it's like I have been creating, but I haven't been putting that content out there because part of me feels like this isn't that content. But I say all that to say I'm gonna start posting this shit more on the actual page. Anywho, so this bad boy right here, when I was younger, I used to have this reoccurring dream. So it would start out, so this says, hello, my name is underscore, and then it says, I am an addict. There is a rainbow, a school crossing sign. There's a Hummer on the street. There is a figure standing on a bridge that's saying, ¿Qué pasa? There's like little marbles there that's supposed to be like water. There is like a big explosion with a door in the middle. So I used to have this reoccurring dream all the time. And it started out as like me, my mom, and my brother would go to my elementary school, and it would start out as a like it was like a NA meeting slash PTA. Like it's going back to that kind of, I have a lot of dreams where it's like multiple things are true at once and I'm aware of those multiple things and I'm kind of like, this is strange, but we're going to go with it. So I don't remember if it was an NA meeting and it turned into a PTA meeting or vice versa, PTA to an NA, but it was in a school, and those were the two things. And if you've ever seen the movie The Mist by Stephen King, I really think I only saw it once as a child, and I really don't remember it like that. But the premise is like, I think the people are in a grocery store, and there's this like really thick mist outside, and you can't go outside because there's creatures like eating people and killing people. So we're inside, and then it starts thunderstorming and raining, and there's this mist, and everybody's like, we can't go outside, like you're gonna get killed. And so me, my mom, and my brother was like, fuck that, we getting out. So we leave out of the building, and it's just rain and thunderstorm, and it's this huge hill. And my mom and my brother make it to the top, but I'm struggling to get to the top, and I'm just like sliding down the mud. Finally get over to the top, and I'm gonna hold this. I finally get over the top, and then it's all sunshine and rainbows, like it wasn't just fucking World War III back there. Or maybe not World War III, but you know what I'm trying to say. It was hectic as fuck. So we get over the hill, rainbow sunshines, and we start walking into this like creek that has a forest set up and a bridge, and the creek is just like really nice. And there is a Spanish man dressed in black with a hat on. I never saw his face. He's on the phone speaking in Spanish. We walk past him. We get out of the like the creek pathway, and we're now on the main street. A Hummer drives by. There's a gas station down the street. And so this is my cue. I don't remember how many times I had this dream, but I had it a lot. That's why I'm able to remember it so well. The last time I had it, I think I was like 9 years old. Or at least around that age. And so the Hummer passes, and that's our cue to get the fuck across the street, because every time the Hummer comes and it goes down, and when it gets near the gas station, it blows up and I wake up. The very last time that I had that dream, we make it across the street, and we're like hiding in this alleyway. So it's like we get across the street, and then it's like a little cut. We go in the cut. We're like, you hear the explosion and everything, and it's like, okay. And then there's a door. The door is opening and closing, and every time the door opens, you hear Kia. And then I never had that dream again. Don't know what that means. I don't know. Anyway, so when we had the assignment, I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna just go with a dream that I had that's easier, blah, blah, blah. So then I did the artwork, got really invested, sat on it. And then it came time to actually, I was like, all right, it's the end of the semester. I gotta actually turn this assignment in. So it sucks because I always used to tell my students as a teacher, like, a low grade is better than no grade, so turn in something. And I have to keep reminding myself now, like, bitch, do the fucking work, turn something in. So I procrastinated, and literally the day that I finally turned the assignment in, my professor, it was like I logged in to upload it, and she had just finished assigning it and giving me a 0. So here I am, like, putting it on, like, I know it's late, but I was hoping, like, some grade is better than no grade, and at the very least, like, I want you to see what I did. She still gave me a 0. I was like, God damn it. But in that, when it came time for me to sit down and write about this, I realized I was struggling to make those connections. So I ended up going back to my original visualization of the money. And I don't remember what I said, but it was just like I did all that procrastinating for no reason, because I ended up doing what I said, what I originally had planned out. I'm just crossing things out, y'all. So we are at the end of April, and I've been talking about how great April is, and so I wanted to go on my journal and share some good things that have happened this month. So the first thing I told you my process of, like, the affirmations that I use, and I have the entire month of April, I have journaled every day, so it's really nice to just kind of see how, I don't always write my own notes. I'll write down, like, the quotes I see or things like that. And then depending on how I'm feeling, I might elaborate on that more. It's really just case by case. But on April, the 1st of April, the affirmations that I got was: magical things will happen this April. You are a magnet for success, love, happiness, and endless blessings. April is going to be an extremely prosperous and exciting month for me. The universe has prepared an amazing sequence of events which is going to change my life for the better. All I need to do now is show up and trust myself to make the right decisions. And it's just like, wow. And here we are on April 30th. And the day is still young. Who knows how much more true this statement could be, because so many things have happened. I've talked about how I've been at this podcast thing for a year now. I had an opportunity to collaborate with someone who, when I first started both my therapy and, I was already in sex work, and then I started my therapy journey, and there was someone that was mentioned, and I was like, oh my God, how do I need to get in contact with this person? And I finally did. So we had planned something, and it ended up not panning out for this month. But the connection has been made, and we're looking for what would better suit both of us. So I'm just really excited for when that happens. So that was something that I was really, really looking forward to. And although it didn't happen, like, it's a yet kind of thing. Like I said, I went to my first femdom party. I've been getting a lot of visibility and interest from subs. So they really do. It took time, because you got to find yourself, like, your journey. You might dip and dab in all types of different fetishes and learning your style. Like, I've done some types of, I started out first, I was okay with nudity, and now I'm like, I'm not okay with nudity. But now I'm at a point too, I'm like, if you want full nudity, you got to drop a pretty penny, because this body is pretty. So I don't care about, it's customs only. You get, just like I give y'all what the fuck I give you in terms of my femdom femdom content, they get what I give them too. I haven't really had any customs yet, and I'm willing to do like nudity for customs, but understand like you gotta pay a bag to see me like that, okay? And I've been said I'm not having sex on camera. But I have recently gotten into like cuckolding, right? So how do you do that without? So I'm thinking of like cuckold fantasy, and what that looks like. So yeah. Anyway, um, where was I going with all of that? Oh yeah, just like the process, of the past year and how many things I had to either like experience or see, and try out to really get to a better place. And so I'm always and will forever be figuring out my Dom style. I recently had a conversation with a southern gentleman, and when we were talking, he was saying that he really appreciated the fact that I was in school, and then it came up that I was a former educator, and he was like, he had a really cool, this is all like, remember, all of this is consensual, right? As two adults, you're talking about having an honest conversation about like what drives you, what pushes you, how do you want to be received, and how do you want to be received? How do you want to give? What are you willing to do and not do? What are you comfortable with? And so in the natural conversation that we were having, he was like, if we decide to go down this route, I would really get a kick out of like, with me being Southern and you being like a former educator, and like, I would like your honorific to be ma'am. Like when you tell me to do something, yes ma'am, no ma'am. And I'm like, yeah, so I thought that was just like really funny, because I say that my honorifics are Mistress, Goddess, Princess, and Temptress. And then occasionally I might refer to myself as Daddy. I may respond to myself as Mommy. I get a lot of Queens. I don't like for subs, unless we have established that, to call me Mommy or Daddy. I just refer to myself like that sometimes. The Queen, I don't necessarily mind. In this space, I like it better than when I'm on the street and they'd be like, hey queen, let me get your number. Oh queen, you look so good today, my Nubian princess. At the gas station, I don't need none of that. My Nubian queen, how you doing today, sister? Leave me alone, sir. I'm just trying to get a pack of rock cones and get the fuck on the way. So yeah. But yeah, Mistress, Goddess, Princess, or Temptress, are really how I prefer to be called. But with this dynamic, I'm like, okay. And so part of me is also like, how do I integrate, like, because a lot of the ways that I move is kind of with that teacher. Like, I'm telling you, this is the instruction, this is how you do it. I can help scaffold it, make it make sense. I try to lay things out very clearly. I've been told that I'm very articulate, which always, like, I know that I am, but it's instances like this when I come back and watch the podcast, or I listen and I hear the likes, I hear the or sometimes I just see how crazy my thought process is. It's like, am I really articulate? But I know that I am, especially in writing, which is why I'm also, part of my sub training is I'm trying to get subs used to sending text instead of calling me, because like I always say, I'm fucking busy. I don't have time to talk to you, especially if you are not paying me, okay? And so it's easier for me to be able to give them attention when it's through text versus calling. And I gotta correct this up, because I cannot figure out how to pronounce it, and I've been told, and it just doesn't stick in my head. Trice, Trist, I don't fucking know, but it's like a website where you can find like sex workers, whether that's escort, I think full service might be on there, BDSM doms and others, the like, but you can go on there and like find somebody, and this is for like people offering in-person sessions. So finally got approved for that and have been seeing a lot of traction from that. I've been seeing a lot more, and I think I applied back in the beginning of March. Then towards the end of March, they sent me a notification saying like, hey, can you take these words out your profile? Because I put like, my hard limit was blood play, and then I had said that one of my interests was water sports. So they told me to take both of those out. And then I did it, and then they approved me, and literally the next morning my phone has just been going off since then. So that's how I met the gentleman. He found me on there. And it was just like really fresh. We talked for an hour, which like after a certain point, this man was rapping my ear off. And I was like, I really am enjoying the conversation, but like you're getting all of this out of me for free. We're not doing this. So yeah, but it put a lot of things in perspective. And I've talked about how I don't like rice play, right? And so he had mentioned, he's like, I am white. I do have a thing for African American women. It's my preference. And I was like, that's cool, but I want to let you know right now, if you think I'm about to be in session talking about the power this black ass got over you, no, that's not happening. That's weird. And he was like, oh, no. Like, it really is a preference. I wouldn't want to incorporate it in play. And I'm like, okay, as long as we're on the same page, don't ever fix your mouth to ask me, because I've had that. Like, I've had someone ask me for a custom clip, and they wanted a masturbation video talking about my black pussy, black pussy, black pussy. What the fuck is wrong with you white people? Huh? What is wrong with you white people? Then the completely black owned sub really just like, the power black ass has over you, you'll never want white pussy again. Like, boy. So I have plans for that one. But anyway, you're right. The power this black ass does have over you, you stupid prick. Which is back to the Facebook. I don't know if I ever finished that, but one of the clips I posted the other day, the one that I was like, honestly, this podcast is to hold myself accountable. That posted to Facebook, and I was just like, whatever, fuck it. It was a matter of time, right, y'all? Why my dad text me talking about what is the name of your podcast and what's it about? I still haven't responded yet, because I'm just like, I don't even know what to say. And this is part of me, I don't know. Like, I don't know how I feel about Facebook, and I don't know if I just want to delete my Facebook, if I want to make some kind of like announcement, because in it's family members, it's coworkers, it's just like former coworkers that like potential art buyers, all of that, like, and it's not like I'm ashamed at all, because I'm talking about it very positively. I'm very secure in who I am and where I'm headed, but it's still kind of that, like, it is a very taboo topic. A lot of the things that I talk about, and some people may deem it as inappropriate. And so it's still just like, I am moving authentically within myself, but I still have to like be very cautious of how that happens. And so yeah, I'm sitting here talking about internet safety and my fucking shit. I was just like, all right, bro, fucking up everywhere. So I'll figure out when and how to respond to my father. And if you ever come across this father, hey. Yeah, so anyway. So April 13th, one of the affirmations that I got that really was just like, wow. A message from your future. It all worked out. You made it through everything, and you're the happiest you've ever been. You have your manifestations. You have your blessings. You have received all that you've been praying for. Your story had a few twists and turns, but that was all part of the plan to bring you where you belong. Your soul was guiding you this whole time. You trusted, you believed, and you kept going. Congratulations to you. Then the other one was, I am patient and trust in divine timing. I know that everything happens for a reason, and I trust that the universe has a plan for me. I choose to be patient and trust in the timing of my life. So that was on April 13th, which I told you all is the anniversary of 2S1P. On April 11th of 2022, and I recorded an episode. With someone that I have not released yet. I'm going to release it next month, but I'm waiting a little bit. So I may have mentioned, I know I didn't explicitly mention what I'm going to mention, but I may have like went over these dates. So if you hear it again, just, I guess, refer back to this episode. I don't know. But in 2022, on April 11th, I signed the commission agreement for my manifestation series that I've talked about, and I shared that in Delulu is the Salulu. And then April 12th of last year, I officially started my sex work journey. That's when like all my, at least I think it was that date. That's when all of my profiles seem to have been started. April 13th is when Two Scribbles One Poll started. And then April 12th of this year, two of my pieces from my manifestation series sold. Two of my pieces sold. And I got my first big girl artist check. Amazing. Like, y'all. Okay. What else is for me? And there was like a lot of other things, and I'll probably read one or two more affirmations, but it was just like, wow. And so I was minding my business in supervision. I checked my email. I got an email saying like, congratulations, you had 2 pieces sold, fill out this W-9, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh my God. So I like reached back out and I'm like, can you tell me what pieces sold? This, that, and third. Had a very hard time getting information from people. But it ended up being, so out of the 4 pieces, there's creativity, joy, abundance, and love. And that's the order in which they were made. That's technically not here nor there. But joy and abundance sold. And, wow. And I think about it, manifestation, speaking things into existence, asking the universe, and you will receive. You're not going to get it today. You probably won't get it tomorrow, depending on, how spiritual you are and how fast you work and all of that. But, things happen at the right time. And, those 2 pieces, joy and abundance. And I was like, I think it's interesting that those 2 out of the 4 sold first, because I've talked about it a bunch. I have abundance in so many ways. So in a way, I've achieved that. And then joy. I am very happy. Life be kicking my ass every day, but I'm very happy. So for those to be the 2 pieces that sold, I'm like, oh my God. And so as far as the other 2, we'll see what happens with those. I do have some plans for one of the pieces, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so I just know, like, when I got that news, and I was so excited, but I had to keep it to myself because, and I kind of talk about this in the episode that I haven't released yet. It's just like I don't remember how, because I haven't gone back and like actually listened to edit it, but some things you just got to keep to yourself and wait for them to come to fruition. And it's like, all right, I'm sitting here. I didn't want to, talk about it too much or tell too many people. And I was waiting for this to happen. And then I finally, like, the lady called me at 4 p.m. and she was like, yeah, since it's your first check, you have to, we could either mail it to you or you have to come to our corporate office to pick it up. And I was like, oh, say less. She's like, we close at 4:44, 4:45. I said, what's the address? I put that shit in Google Maps. It said it was going to take me 36 minutes. I said, I'm on the way, okay? I pulled up at 4:37. I was not playing. Give me my money, okay? I walked in. And then I just cried. Like, I got in the car, and it wasn't like, I'm almost crying right now. And I came home, like, I think I went grocery shopping real quick. I came home, I opened up that envelope, and I just sat there with the check. And I still have it. Like, this is crazy. Like, this is my first big girl check as an artist. I've sold artwork before for like, I feel like the most I've sold a piece for may have been 500. But these 2 pieces were priced at $1,100 each. So the person, whoever you are out there, thank you for buying my art. If you ever come across this, I hope that it brings you so much joy and abundance as well. And I would love, email me at kpmosaics@gmail.com and let's talk about like what drew you to it, if you happen to hear this. But Um, lost my train of thought. Yeah, it was like, so the two pieces sold for 2,200. Now, with commission fees and stuff, I didn't get that much, but I got a nice little check, and it came right in time for rent. Okay, I'm like, damn, I can't hold on to this check as in the way that I intended it to, but divine timing, because I was really looking like, all right, the first of the month approaching, about to call up my landlord like, yo, you need some dishes washed, because, with all the shit with work and everything, and I already told her beforehand, like, things is a little tight, I'm gonna try to pay rent on time, and I'm very grateful, because a couple of months ago, I was in a spot where I literally, y'all, I wasn't, probably, I don't know if I should say this, but it's the truth. Like, I wasn't able to pay rent, y'all. I was struggling, and I had blessings that I wasn't in a situation where I could, like, well, she could evict me whenever she wanted to because it's her place, but like, I was lucky that my landlord was able to extend me grace, and there were parts where I fucked up and I should have been better about my communication, but and there were grievances, but it was figured out, and I'm just glad, like, it worked out. So now the next move is just to get up out of here. But it was just like that divine timing piece. So, like, I really was sitting here, and every day I just get more confirmation of, like, it's okay, you're doing the right things, it'll work out, and if it's meant for you, it will happen. Yeah, I was stressed, y'all, and I got that, and I just came in here, and I remember, like, I'm looking at it now, but it's just like, wow, I did that. And it's interesting too, because growing up, I've always said, and I've never had interest in being a famous artist per se. And I think a lot of times too, with art, the fame comes after, not modern. And I've had a lot of different visions of what art looks like in my life, how I want to share it with the world, and how I want to practice it. And there's so many things that I want to do with it. There's so many things that I can do with it. And sometimes it's overwhelming. So I'm still like, I'll just leave it there. But go create something. Yeah. What was this? Was the 29th Sun? No, that was the 28th. Um the day after Sunday. Well, no. Is that what I want to read? Is that the only affirmation? Be patient with yourself. Yeah, April was like a good month. Dreamville, I had a great time with my friends that I went with. I had a reconnection with my childhood self in like books. I had some really fascinating conversation. Like, the imagination of children is amazing, and we lose that. So I've been getting more connected with like children's books, and just like really trying to dive into that imagination, and it's kind of given me some insight of how to fantastically live my life. What delusion am I living in? So I kind of gave myself like an origin story for the real Mistress Goddess Princess Temptress Mango. And that is really fun. I can't wait to actually like sit down, and because I got notes on my whiteboard. I went into this whole just like other world when I was coming up with this. Ooh, my bad. I went into this whole other world when I was coming up with this origin story, and I'm just like really pressed with it. It does have to do with Pokemon. First of all, okay, I love Crocs. And my Pokemon Crocs are the best. These are my Pikachu ones, and then I have the like quote unquote plain white ones that have Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Pikachu on it. I think Charmander. No, I don't think Pikachu's on there. I think it's just Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. Squirtle's my favorite Pokemon. I fucking love Squirtle. And then my second favorite is Eevee, because Eevee has so many different evolutions. How could you not love Eevee? And so my origin story kind of has this connection to Eevee. So, once I get that all, Tales of a Sensual Findom, join me. But yeah, so it was like that childhood connection of just like books and living in this delusion, living in this fantasy world, and like really not staying in it, but like using some of that to gain insight of how to move within the like real world. And then also just like this connection with trains. When I was younger, I remember when I first started college, like I didn't get my license till I was 19. So I didn't get my license till I was a junior in college. My freshman year, all of my friends had cars. And they would go home on the weekends, go back to their cars, or if they had them on campus, do whatever. And I remember being in a group chat, and everybody went home that weekend and sent pictures of their cars. And then I sent a picture of my feet. Like, these boys ain't never let me down, because I grew up walking, taking buses, taking trains. And with all this stuff with my car, I'm back in that space of taking, I haven't been on any buses, but I've been taking trains. And it's been like just really nostalgic. And it's made life easier in terms of like being able to multitask things. Like, when I go to class later tonight, I'm actually going to do some reading for my assignment that's due tomorrow. But sometimes I listen to the podcast and do other editing. I have to finish this. I have to also, it is Titty Tuesday, so I need to, upload a video on my clip sites, and I think I might release videos for Femdom Tuesdays, Fridays, and then podcast is Thursdays, Saturdays, but still work in progress, and then figuring out all my other sites. But y'all, and I'm excited too, because I finally set up my room in a better way, so that I have like a content recording corner for femdom stuff, because since everything that I'm doing, I am a face showing dom, so obviously if you recognize my face, you'll be able to put the connections, but I want to make it less easy, like I said, to find me. So, it's like I make content or I take pictures, you see all this art in the background, and it does intrigue them, because one of the subs I was talking to, he's like, oh, I see you're like really into art. So I got to figure out what art pieces that I'm fine showing that I know that aren't going to be, and all of that. That's neither here nor there. But the point is, I created that corner. So I'm really excited about that. And we're just in the home stretch of school. Some other quote, and I don't remember what day it was from this month, but I really think that just like in the grand scheme of things, I guess I don't have any questions, because I be forgetting to post in the story to ask y'all. I always remember when I feel the urge to record. Wait, let me like take a little boomerang. I'm always, whenever I get the urge to record, I'm like, oh, I should have asked, like, ask Mango. But then I'm like, well, if nobody responds, because y'all motherfuckers don't be responding to me, y'all be having me talk to my goddamn self all the goddamn time. Oh no, I'm gonna do it the other way. And that way I can actually use my phone. But anywho, I was talking about, ask Mango. Yeah, so I be forgetting to ask y'all, and then y'all don't be responding. So I need to get better at like a story posting schedule. So I don't have any of those. I'm surprised I haven't been talking for like because I really was stuck on the school stuff for a while, so I didn't know if I was gonna get to all of the things that I wanted to talk about. So I'm a little like, oh wow, you did it, bitch. So I guess I'll just move into Mango's message. That's what I said, that long drawn out whatever I just said to say I'll move on to Mango's message. And y'all, the sound effects are coming. I just, we're get one step at Just take one step at a time. There's no need to rush. It's like learning to fly or falling in love. Cause you gotta believe it's gonna happen when it's supposed to happen. And we find the reasons why. One step at a time. Shout out Jordan Sparks. I love that song. Okay, that song, Strut by Cheetah Girls. You gotta strut like you mean it. Free your mind. It's not enough just to dream it. Come on, come on. I love Cheetah Girls. I love Jordan Sparks, One Step at a Time. Like, I be in the car screaming, singing, crying. Because I just be, y'all, I need y'all to understand. And y'all see it. Those of you who watch, and probably if you listen, you hear it in my voice too. But I just get so much excitement. And I just, all of my senses just start going off. And I get so emotionally invested in things. And I be crying. I be crying all the time. And it's like, why are you crying? Because I'm just so touched. And I think I was having like a really rough day. And I was in the grocery store, and One Step at a Time came on. And it's always like grocery stores, particularly Wegman and Giant, specifically Giant, fucking love One Step at a Time. I'm telling you, I always hear that song whenever I'm in one of those stores. And so definitely when I'm feeling like kind of like, I'll play it and I'll just like start singing and crying and I feel better. But that is one of my songs. So just take one step at a time. There is no need to rush. It's like learning to fly or falling in love. You got to believe it. It's going to happen when it's going to happen. And then we find the reasons why. Just take one step at a time. I was looking for what I wrote in my journal. What got me there is one of my affirmations was saying to believe it before you receive it and trust the process. And I think with that being said too, it's like, all right, you finally got whatever it is you're asking for. How are you going to show gratitude? Okay. Show thanks to the universe or whoever, even if you're not like, you're too spiritual for me, bitch. If somebody gave you something, how are you going to show gratitude for that? Right. And also, this is where discernment comes in. If it is like a person kind of thing, it's like, all right, questioning their intentions, because sometimes people do give us things because they're looking for something out of us. It's not truly just from the kindness of their heart or wanting to support us. Sometimes it really is like, okay, I scratched your back, now you need to scratch my back. So practicing discernment in that sense. But, you know, like when you get something that you've been asking for, how are you going to show thanks for receiving it? How are you planning to push it forward? So I actually saw this post from a Domme last night. Did I retweet it? I hope I retweeted it. I might not have retweeted it. I might have just liked it. Okay, I'm not gonna do all. Oh, I can't go to likes. Let me see. Oh, you liking shit. I want to read it because I really liked their okay, so this is Miss Fox. I just started following them. I have no interactions, but you know, I want to shout out people. But anyway, so they said, I think a lot of my success as a Dom is because I give back to my community. Mutual aid, sex workers in need, Dom friends, and having my subs send to creators and other Doms. I feel like giving. Okay, y'all. For those of you who are listening, you may have heard that quick interruption, but I had to, for those of you watching, I had set an alarm for 9 a.m. to remind me to send a copy of my registration to my insurance broker because I forgot to do that last week. And then it cut the video off. So anyway, back to the tweet that I was reading. I'll just start over. I think a lot of my success as a Dom is because I give back to my community, mutual aid, sex workers in need, Dom friends, and having my subs send to creators and other Doms. I feel like being giving also brings in the fortune back in karmic ways, but it also just makes me smile to know I made a difference in someone's day, even just a little. I challenge you to find a sex worker that needs tips or tributes today and send to them quietly, or have your submissive send to them in your name. Not as a submissive gesture, but as a community support. It will come back to you just as it comes back to me. And just like, yeah, you know, you you get back what you put out. So think about that law of attraction, and that goes into so many things, you know. You may Why are we receiving, why does it seem like we have so many toxic people in our lives? In what ways are you toxic, right? And really, like, you got to be honest with yourself. It takes a lot of self-awareness and honesty. And I've been kind of like looking back at like some of my profile posts, and I'm just like, wow. And so it's interesting to get like to lose sight of certain things, or kind of put things on the back burner, and then to like come back across it, and it's like, wow. So really trying to get more reconnected with my artistic identity and bring that in. Like, I have a better idea of just like therapy and my approach and just how I view life, my spirituality, getting a better hone on the content creation part. And so really trying to bring art back in. I think I did a great job of bringing art into this with the podcast, but how am I pulling art into my sex work identity? And in what ways am I also giving back, with that being said? So, you know, baby steps. I have seeds planted. That's what I'm trying to say. So I have ways in which I plan on giving back, that are rooted in art. Like, in general, giving back, but also I have a specific idea for something that I want to do for the community. And that's for sex workers, that's for people of color, but primarily sex workers of color, what I want to do. And then, you know, I've talked about wanting to create a therapeutic center. I've talked about wanting to create dungeon spaces. And so I just have a lot of ideas in my head that I'm just waiting. You know, put a pin in it. Even if it sounds crazy, put a pin in it. It came to you for a reason, and every day something happens. It's like, oh, okay, now I see how it's going to work. Show gratitude and patience. And it's so hard to maintain patience when life be kicking that ass. But patience allows you to, it reinforces trusting in the process, that everything is okay. And as going back to that like note that I had about, you know, your future self will thank you. Your hard work wasn't unnoticed, and it's all going to work out. Okay. I believe that's all I have to say. So go forth, be great, be safe, make good choices. Bye.